very proud because before I started this job right here, I was homeless. I used to sleep under the bridge, and most of the streets that I'm cleaning up now, that's the streets that I used to sleep on. I'm thankful that they gave me opportunity. You know, it's changed my life tremendously. Like I said, I was homeless. You know, now I'm in the process of looking for a house to buy. And through this program, you know, I came up with my addiction. Man, I'm so thankful. You know, I thank the staff at Good Source for giving me the opportunity, man. They helped me out tremendously. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the Good Source staff and the city of Orlando. The most rewarding part of this job is getting up every day and trying to keep Orlando beautiful. You know, doing my part and making sure the community and the residents are happy with their areas are getting cleaned up, the streets are getting cleaned up.
uh, favorite scriptures during times of lack, and it is, can these dry bones live? So, shall we bow our heads in prayer, sir? Most heavenly and gracious Father, we beseech ye on behalf of the people of the Orlando community. Father, we thank you for a council of camaraderie, a camaraderie that is not specific to our personal ideologicals, but is centered with the concerns of your people. Lord, you are the omnipotent one. That means you see all. We thank you for being omnipresent. That means you're everywhere all the time. And we thank you for being omnipotent, which means you're all powerful. So now, God, hear our cries of your people in the midst of valley days. These bones are dry, and the people are living in unparalleled times. Your servant and prophet Ezekiel stated, a question that you ask, can these bones live? And as we live in that time again in 2020, these leaders of the city of Orlando rise to answer that very question again. And they say, yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. These bones in these cities around us, affected in the midst of COVID-19, yes, we can live. So, God, you have given us the opportunity to speak once again to these bones, to your people, to your city. We speak to the potential of our city. We speak to the partners, and we thank you for them. We speak to the prospective partners, dear Lord, but most importantly, we speak to the people of the city of Orlando and cover each and every one of them, Lord. Cover our mayor, cover the commissioners, cover the staff, oh Father. So, yes, these bones in the city of Orlando will live again, and this city shall rebound again like never before. So, we thank you, Lord, and we give you the honor. In Jesus' name, I pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, and indivisible. Amen.
Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll and make a determination of quorum, please?
Commissioner Gray,
Here.
Commissioner Ortiz,
Here.
Commissioner Stewart,
Here.
Commissioner Sheehan,
Here. Sorry.
Commissioner Hill,
Here.
Commissioner Burns,
Here.
Mayor Dyer.
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum with all members present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's take up for consideration the minutes of the agenda review and city council meetings of April 27th, 2020.
So
Moved. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Sheehan, second by Commissioner Stewart. All in favor indicate so by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, Madam Clerk, let it be reflected that that passed unanimously. Okay, let's go right into the mayor's update. Welcome to our fourth virtual city council meeting. We're kind of getting used to this at this point. This type of meeting ensures that we are able to keep our city moving and our projects and programs continuing while allowing physical distancing and also ensuring public participation. Last week was National Public Service Recognition Week, and although we did not celebrate in person, I again want to thank our city staff for their dedication in continuing to serve our city and the public. During these times, employees continue to deliver our critical municipal services. So Commissioners, I want to thank you for all the ways you continue to recognize and thank our staff for all that they do for our community. We've all played a role in getting us to where we are now, and that's in phase one of reopening our community. We must all continue to protect ourselves and do it safely and smartly as we move through this. That means being diligent about physical distancing, wearing your face coverings, washing your hands, and our path to recovery is dependent on all that. Testing to monitor infection rate and continuing to control the virus is key to us moving forward. So we are partnering with Orange County government, Gen X Works, Advent Health, and Orlando Health to open new free mobile testing sites. We've selected them based on where we've tracked hotspots within Orlando. We've had so far to date 444 positive cases in the specific city of Orlando boundaries. So we're going to have one test site in each of the commission districts, and we'll make them, or we'll present them in a fashion that not only can they accommodate people coming in cars, but they can accommodate those who come on foot or by bike or public transportation. So they'll be open Tuesday and Thursdays on a rotating basis. So we'll start this coming Thursday, May 14th at the Englewood Center, and the following Tuesday, May 19th will be the Northwest Center. Anybody 18 years and older can be tested with an Orlando ID. All you need is an appointment. You can sign up at orlando.gov/COVID-19 testing. And we also are continuing to partner with Orange County for a testing location at Camping World again this coming Wednesday, May 13th through 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. That's by appointment at 407-723-5004. A couple things on the agenda that I just want to point out. Last week, we made some efforts to help our local businesses as they entered phase one of the reopening, and we announced that we were going to allow businesses to temporarily expand their operational space and market their businesses outside. So we were able to administratively allow businesses to expand into private outdoor areas like parking lots, authorize them to use small tents like we do at the farmers market, extra banners and signage. And today we have actions on the council agenda to allow businesses to use our public rights of way, like sidewalks that are adjacent to their operations, and a program to offset the cost of parking to encourage residents to patronize our businesses downtown. And we will also not require any permits or applications or any fees related to these programs through September the 1st. Also, I want to call your attention to a couple of QTI programs that we're doing. KPMG opening a new streamlined tax client service delivery center, and Simcom's relocation and expansion of its aviation headquarters will add at least 250 new high-wage, high-value jobs to our city. And then lastly, on a fun note, I would just mention that Fringe is back. It's back virtually, and it starts today. So you can go on their website and see a whole list of fun things to watch on your computer. With that, we'll go to the consent agenda, and consent agenda is a number of actions or number of items that are acted on through a single action of council. We allow our council members to comment on those items as well as update you on other things from their districts. We rotate the order we do that. And Commissioner Hill is first up today.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll be brief. We've been working, all of us have been working in our respective districts, and I have a few things I want to speak about. But all the things that we've done thus far the last 2 weeks, you can find on my City of Orlando Commissioner Regina Hill Facebook page. Myself and the mayor was able to show appreciation with the partnership of a local philanthropist, Ms. Dottie Wynn, and we went out and served our Orlando Fire Department and our police department, and just showed them appreciation for being on the front lines and all their efforts and sacrifice that they make daily, but especially during these crucial times. So that will be there. Also, as the mayor stated, we're trying to make sure that we continue on with the progress that we had made prior to COVID, and something that has been near and dear to myself and with the support of this council and Mayor Dyer is affordable housing, especially multifamily housing. And on Monday, May the 11th, at 6 p.m., we will be holding a virtual meeting for contractors outreach. As you know, the city purchased quite a few blighted areas there in the Mercy Drive area, and we demoed those and sold the properties to community developers to increase our stock of low income housing and housing for those families transitioning from homelessness. And so they will be having bids going out for electrical, plumbing, concrete, block mason, roofing, metal studs, stucco, painting, installation, sheetrock, carpentry, rough carpentry, cabinets, fencing, site work, HVAC, steel, landscaping, irrigation, flooring, cleaning, and countertops. And that is the Blue Sky community. We have that on my page, the meeting ID number, the Zoom ID number. So if you are a subcontractor and you're interested in being a part of building this project, this here on the Mercy Drive corridor, our second one after now that we've getting ready to undertake, please Zoom in on Monday, May the 11th at 6 p.m. And they have just been great partners by trying to make sure that they're going to be hiring from that Mercy Drive corridor, and also trying to make sure that they have as many local subcontractors and minority contractors to work on that project. So I thank them for their continued partnership in making sure that we get this information and opportunities to those in our area. On Thursday, May 14th at 11 a.m. at the Northwest Center, we will be having a food drop. We know people still having dire times when it comes to trying to feed their families. So with the continued partnership of Second Harvest Food Bank and the Arab American Community Center of Florida, we'll be giving some non-perishable foods, meats, and fresh produce to over 500 families there. And I'd like to thank CEO Burns of the Orange Blossom Health Family Health, also known as Baraki Burns. I love that guy. They called you Baraki. I told him now he's Baraki to me. For he's going to be partnering with my office to dispense approximately 150 to 200 COVID-19 testing kits. So thank you, Commissioner Burns, for your assistance in making sure that we are testing those on the west side. And thank you, Mayor Dyer, and your staff for your leadership. I know you guys have been working on this for a while to make sure that you bring testing to those areas that has been identified as hot spots through your tracking here at City Hall. So I'm just so excited about that. I do want to talk about a little bit about some of the things that I've seen. I know this is fluid to everyone and it changes daily. And with the outreach from, and I know the county has been a great partner and the city staff have been briefing me and they've been working with the county, but there are some things that I thought was going to happen in the second phase that actually has been expedited the first phase. And that is barbershop salons and nail salons. Through science, we know many of our positive COVID tests have been in our Black and brown communities, whether it's over in District 2 are over in District 5 and 6 here in the city. And to hear that those kids for making sure that these places open, these small businesses open responsibly, that they need 3 to 40 employees. Most of our small corner stores and small local restaurants have 2 or less employees, and especially those that are in the personal care services, eyelash techs, makeup artists, barbers, and stylists. They are self-contracted and they're all a party of one, so they didn't qualify. And I like to say, Mayor, I spoke with the Chief of Staff, Heather Fagan, earlier this morning, and Sherry Gulch from your team, and they did contact Orange County with my concerns, and they're going to try to see if they can modify that. I've heard that there's a possibility that they will now go to 1 employee, but then there's still certain barriers when we start talking about the barbershops and hair salons and nail techs and eyelash techs and those folks. We do know that.
Commissioner, I've gotten word from the county that they are going to heed your advice on that.
Great. And that's great. I appreciate that, Mayor. Also, I know, you can't look a gifted horse in the mouth, but there's also some more concerns. I'm hoping that they not change, but put a distribution site somewhere in the center of the city, or because right now, those folks that Governor DeSantis and Mayor Dimmons and some of the other stylists went out and sat in the shop to start talking about this conversation was in the midst of Pine Hills in the Black community. Well, there's no distribution sites anywhere from the east side. It jumps all the way throughout the city corner of downtown Orlando, Paramore, Silver Star, Metro West, Carver Shores, Washington Shores, even Pine Hills, Silver Star, Hiawassee area, and goes to Apopka, and then goes to Winter Garden. So we're still in a quandary when it comes to talking about having a distribution site that is conducive to pick up in those areas that has been identified as hot spots. Second thing is when we start talking about these personal care establishments open up, there's no, I think they're giving them 10 bottles of sanitizer of this size, when usually you have at least 10 and then I think 50 masks. Well, that's just not enough to be responsible and to be safe. 50 masks at a hair salon or a barbershop isn't going to go a long way. We got to remember these are surgical masks. Even if you wear barriers, they're not really protecting you from corona, is protecting someone else. So I just want us to think about some of those things. I have spoke to Doug Taylor today over on the head of the task force, which he'll be sending some of that information forward, that we do need more masks and more sanitizers, and they need spray sanitizers. They need cloth capes. And we do know, because of the science and the data that you all have compiled, that those areas are those folks that are really going to be impacted because of some of the underlying health issues that they have, that we need to make sure that we give them all the necessary PPEs that they need, not a Band-Aid to open up, because we know these folks, they go in, or they're going to be going back to their aunties and uncles and grandmamas and granddaddies with possible exposure. So as we do more aggressive testing, I would like to see how we can also incorporate some of that antibody testing so we can get people back to work, so we don't have to waste tests on people that has already been affected, and we can test those that haven't. So those are some of the things that I'm hoping to see, Mayor, and I'm I'm quite grateful to the county for taking a second look at their original plan and modifying it now that I hear that they're going to do that. So that's great news. And I also like to thank Dr. Jason Littleton, which is a renowned physician here in the area. He's over family medicine at Orlando Health, African American doctor, call him the energy doctor. And also Dr. Behel Maroon, which has her PhD in gathering social data throughout the nation. But she also has been working with Polis Institute to do it in District 5 and District 6, and convening a healthy District of 5 task force on just trying to complement some of the work that other folks are doing, specifically when it comes to our urban core. And I'm hoping that as we continue to move forward, that our county government start to work with some of the city commissioners that are boots on the ground, that's on the front line doing some of these services, and get our input also to be included with the several phases as we roll out some of these things. And so I'm hopeful, I'm thankful, I'm grateful. I don't want to seem as if I'm rebelling and thinking that, hey, we do want to get to the new norm, and we all have the goal to get there safely. But I do believe that we got to remember that many of these people have not even gotten an unemployment check. It's not any fault of the city, of the county. It's a state matter. And then, when we start talking about some of the testing and things of that nature, I know we've done the best that we can do with what we have. But I do believe as we continue to move forward, that there's more conversation when it comes to these vulnerable communities. What's good in one part, I've always stated this, so I haven't changed this. What's good in one area doesn't necessarily mean it's conducive in another. So I want us, like we always know, to understand our audience as we roll out these plans, and it kind of be strategic per area and demographic. And that's all I have, Mayor. If that's
okay. Thank you, Commissioner Hill. Commissioner Burns.
Excuse me, Mayor. I apologize. I did have one more thing to say, which is very important. And I would like to thank you also, Mayor, for your leadership on pulling B4, which was almost $2 million contract on awarding a sod job to a major business in the area, and to pull that back to see if we can get minority participation. And I think we came here at another point when Commissioner Sheehan was trying to get something done in her district, and there was a problem with getting the contractor agreeing to minority participation. And with this, the contractor has flat out said that he would not use any minorities, that he wanted to self-perform. Their company wanted to self-perform. And as you remember, Mayor, I think staff said that we were going to try to put something in place so that those that bid on these projects, if they use minorities because it was goods and services, that they would be awarded a higher score. Well, we're back here again, Mayor, unfortunately. And I do know that our goal is, under your leadership in this council, is to reach the 18 and 6. And that's why we have a Chapter 57 program. And if folks can skirt that, especially during perilous times such as this, everybody needs to eat at this time, and especially subcontractors. It will be tragic. And as I said, I can't continue to sit here and pass things when people do not make a valid effort. And that's all we ask, is that they try to meet the goals of 18 and 6. And I come back, I know this might not go over well, but Mayor, I believe minorities, especially Hispanics, and Blacks have been laying sod before the civil rights, before affirmative action. And to say that we can't lay sod, or you can't find a Black landscaping company that we have on rolls, or Hispanic or woman-owned business, to have people lay sod is a slap in our face. And it just should not be allowed in this city that we continue to have contractors come here and get $1 million contracts and say they can't find minorities to do a work like that have done it from the beginning of time. And that's all I have, Mayor.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. Okay, Commissioner Burns.
Yes, good afternoon, Mayor, fellow commissioners. Just a few updates. On May 2nd, had the opportunity to partner with Farm Share, several host of volunteers to do a food distribution at the James R. Smith Center. And on that day, we fed over 700 families. Mayor, thank you for coming out and helping to pass out some food as well. But also one of the things that we wanted to try is we knew that the distribution would start at 10 o'clock. Historically, people start to line up as early as 8. In this case, we had people lining up at 5 o'clock in the morning. So we took that opportunity to conduct some COVID-19 testing. And so we tested about 200 individuals at the food distribution for COVID-19. So we're excited to, again, continue to bring these types of resources to our communities that are so much in need. Also, speaking of testing, I'd like to thank you, Mayor, for what you just spoke about with the partnership with the county and the local hospitals to bring testing to our inner cities where there's a lack of access to some of the hard-hit communities. So thank you for your leadership in that. Also, my health center, Orange Blossom Family Health, on last week was performing some COVID-19 testing in our homeless population at some of the homeless shelters. So we tested at Orlando Union Rescue Mission and the Salvation Army last week. And we had some encouraging signs. It was encouraging to see very low positivity rates. Actually, to my knowledge, I don't think that any homeless person through the testing that we've conducted over the last week has come back positive. So that's very encouraging, especially as we're looking at opening up our community. So I just want to say that we need to continue, as Commissioner Hill mentioned, to have the test so we'll know who's positive, who's not, so we can continue to safely open back up our community. Last thing, today also I partnered with What a Fan Charities to provide lunch to the emergency department at Orlando Health through Sunny's. Sunny's has been a partner in this endeavor. And we just want to tell our frontline healthcare workers, our emergency medicine staff, how much we appreciate them. We know that a lunch is a very small token, but we just wanted them to know that we appreciate their hard work and for keeping us safe. Also, over this weekend, I attended the homegoing service for the young man who was killed, Mr. Dexter Rentz, Jr., who was a senior at Ocoee, had signed with Louisville, and unfortunately was murdered during a drive-by shooting. But I was honored to read a resolution offered by you, Mayor Dyer, proclaiming May 9th a National Day of mourning for Mr. Rentz. Learned a lot about this young man. One thing I didn't know, he had accepted a scholarship to Louisville, but this young man had also got accepted to Harvard. So this was a fine young man, very intelligent, very talented. And it's just unfortunate that his life was cut away so short. So we have a lot of work to do when we start looking at addressing a lot of these issues that are in our community. But I know together as a city, as a county, and as a state, we can handle this. So that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Commissioner Burns. Commissioner Gray.
Thank you, Mayor. Activities in District 1 are on my website. I did want to make mention of one thing, and that is we talk a lot about our Neighborhood Watch program. And here's a little testimony from last week. Even during these times, we still have folks out trying to pull door handles and steal cars. And we had that issue over the last couple of weeks in Lake Nona. But through efforts of our neighborhood watch captain, Jean Thatcher, and her captains in Laureate Park, they got the word out not only in Laureate Park, but all of Lake Nona. And also thanks to OPD, Deputy Chief Eric Smith, Captain Sakaris, and my liaison officer, Malave, put some additional resources. The good news in all of this is it raised awareness, and we were able to apprehend the folks doing it and make some arrests. So that's a testimony. Neighborhood Watch really does work. OPD cannot do it on their own. So that's a great testament. I just wanted to share that. On the agenda, also wanted to comment on items C4 and C7, which are the QTIs for Simcom and KPMG. As always, we appreciate any company that gives consideration to bringing high wage jobs here. And so we appreciate that consideration and strongly encourage them to join us and expand. Special thanks to our economic development team, along with our partners at Orlando Economic Partnership. So excited about that. And that's all I had on the agenda, Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner Gray. Commissioner Ortiz.
Mayor, I'm going to hold my comments and yield my time to Commissioner Stewart. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Stewart.
Oh my, I wasn't quite ready for that. Thank you, Tony. A couple of quick things I want to share. The first is we have skipped over Mother's Day. And we all had a wonderful virtual Mother's Day. I hope you had a great Mother's Day. I had a chance to spend time with my two daughters, both mothers, and it was a wonderful time to do that. And to those mothers who are your mothers, even though may not be by blood. So anyway, congratulations to all of our mothers, and we appreciate the work that they do. This week is National Police Week. So I want to thank OPD for their service all year long, but especially congratulate Officer Lundy on his new role, and thank OPD for continuing to put time and effort into the police and the youth partnership and diversion program. So thank you very much, Officer Lundy. You're doing a great job. Couple quick updates. I-4 is going to get crazy over the course of the next 3 or 4 weeks. Just to want y'all to know, if you ever thought it was bad before, it's going to get crazy for about 2 or 3 weeks, and then it's going to start to really see some recovery. So we're going to see a lot of work from Lee Road to Gore. It's going to affect a lot of the downtown core, a lot of my district, and some of Regina's district. So it's going to have a lot of changes. We're going to have some information on our website, but I'm encouraging everybody to please go to I-4 Ultimate, get on their little device. They have a website and a app that will tell you about what's going on. Please do that. They're looking at cutting lanes back down to 1 lane from Lee Road down to Princeton, and cutting some more out of Princeton. The good news is that this is part of the governor's acceleration program. And so we think that we'll be able to get some things done a little faster. And when it comes back up, we'll be back on the final lanes, but it's going to take some time to do that. I want to say a special thanks to our city staff that are working to bring the city-centric testing. Mayor, thank you very much about announcing those two and making sure that each of our districts are covered. So you mentioned that Inglewood on the 14th and Northwest on the 19th. Appreciate that. Appreciate the work that you're doing on that to support our community. On the agenda today, a special thanks on the C10 today, the Economic Recovery Initiative. I appreciate that announcement. Had a lot of positive response from our businesses. I know we can't do a whole lot because of what's going on and such an incredible impact on the entire community, but we can show that we care and we can provide some help, and I appreciate that. And Mayor, as we talked before, having a date certain to have that be over on September 1st is important, and then so having a clear definition of what can we do, and then we can continue that as we need to. So it's not indefinite, but it's done there for a particular purpose. And then we'll go and talk a little bit about the CRA and the same kind of DTO information over there. All right, and that's all I got, Mayor. Thank you very much for the work that you're doing, our staff is doing. We appreciate the chance to be able to talk to the senior staff about some of the issues that are raised by our constituents, especially those that are raised with not wearing masks and not socially distancing and those kind of things. It is a difficult time for all of us because we don't quite know what to do. But I appreciate the work that you've done and appreciate the work, your leadership in this work and the leadership of all the commissioners. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Stewart. And now Commissioner Sheehan.
Thank you, Mayor Dyer. And hi, commissioners. I miss you guys. I miss you all. A couple agenda items today. Item B3, the Beardall Center. While we have our community centers closed, it makes a lot of sense right now to go ahead and do some repairs. So we're going to be doing some repairs to the Beardall Center that are much needed. And I really appreciate the fact that staff is doing that in a historically appropriate way. I also want to thank staff for the temporary use permits for the signs, the outdoor sales and seating, and the small tents that are really, really helping these small businesses. It's really hard in a restaurant to make money at 25%. So if anything that they can do to increase the amount of seating they have, it's really, really helpful. And I also want to thank staff for being very responsive, because some of these entrepreneurs have been finding new creative ways to get the word out, and staff has been great in working with them. Also, item J2, the DTO parking validation program, try to get Thomas, great idea, validate some parking for some people that are patronizing our downtown businesses, to try to get folks up and running. And I know some folks were asking, some of my colleagues were asking about the homeless population with COVID. We did have 3 folks test positive for COVID. But the great thing is that Family Parks and Recreation was partnering with a hotel, and we actually got housing for them. And some of our FPR staff is actually assisting these folks with getting food and different things like that. So again, our staff is being very entrepreneurial almost in figuring out ways to help people. Since we don't have our community centers open, they're actually assisting the homeless, doing a lot of stuff. And I just want to shout out to FPR, because they've really had a lot to do, especially, how should we say, other duties as assigned. There's been a lot of those kinds of things happening during this COVID crisis. I'd also like to thank Representative Anna Escamani and Senator Linda Stewart. Many people in my district have been impacted by the inability to make their unemployment claims. That's been the biggest need in my district. And both of these women have been tremendously responsible and responsive in helping residents of District 4 get what they need. They still have had some issues getting their unemployment, but they've both helped a lot of residents of District 4 get their unemployment. And I just want to shout out to them. There's a lot of problems with the state unemployment program, but these women have worked tirelessly to try to help my community and our community get their benefits. So I just want to say thank you so much to them. I also want to thank Economic Development for coming up with this small business response and Main Street support that's critically important. Family Parks and Recreation for providing rangers to make sure that people are using our parks and equipment safely, because we've got a huge problem with that. And again, helping the homeless, the folks in the homeless community who've tested positive, providing assistance to them. Purchasing department, we've been getting a lot of people that have been interested in providing PPE and different things. I got to shout out to David Billingsley, because I've been referring a lot of things to him, and him and his department have been vetting a lot of that. And also the Office of Budget and Finance. Poor Chris McCullion, you don't get a lot of kudos and credit for being the budget guy. But they've been doing so much to try to be responsive, and I want to thank them for all their hard work as well. And many people in my district have been participating in the Million Mask Challenge to provide personal protective equipment for the folks at the hospitals. And I just want to thank them, because when times are down and out, it really shows. I'm really so encouraged by the folks that live in my district, because they've taken this downtime to make masks for the hospitals and for everyone else. And I just want to say how proud I am. Andrea, all the folks that have been helping out, Elizabeth, y'all are just doing, so Bonnie, y'all are just doing, Tracy, y'all are doing incredible work. And, whenever we have found out that there's some city employees who haven't had PPE, they make it for them. And we, and I've been delivering it. And I just think that is just so nice for them to help out. We have a testing facility for COVID-19 at the mall at Millennia. So if you need to get testing, please call ahead. But there is a testing facility at the mall at Millennia. There is as well going to be one opening up for District 4 later on this month, closer to downtown. And I also just want to give a shout out to Mills 50. I'm helping host Takeout Tuesdays in Mills 50. Commissioner Stewart, feel free to come on over. But we're trying to do as much as we can to get folks to patronize our small businesses that have been so impacted during this time. And, and but again, being very entrepreneurial. I mean, some of them are doing delivery. I just think it's great that they're doing what they can. And our small business is the backbone of our community. We need to do whatever we can to support them. And with that, Mayor Dyer will move the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Sheehan, second by Commissioner Hill. All in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, commissioners. Okay, I'm going to, without objection, recess the city council meeting and convene the CRA meeting. We have one item for approval, and that relates to the downtown parking that we've been talking about. Thomas? Unmute, Thomas.
All right, let me try it again. Thank you, and good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. As the Mayor mentioned in his opening statements, we're happy to bring you another opportunity now to help downtown businesses as they recover. This is Park DTO, which is a downtown parking validation program, which of course is part of our COVID-19 economic recovery initiative. Purpose of the program is to encourage and support economic recovery of our downtown businesses by increasing consumer spending and visitation in the area. Program provides customers with up to 2 hours of free on-street parking paid for by the CRA and the City of Orlando's parking division at any metered on-street parking spot within the area, and up to 3 hours of parking for customers dining or shopping at any eligible business at 3 specifically designated City of Orlando parking garages. Any downtown retail or consumer service business with a valid City of Orlando BTR or business tax receipt is eligible to participate in the parking validation program. Downtown validation stickers may be used at, as I said, 3 city garages. Those are the Central Boulevard Garage on West Central, the 55 West Garage, which of course is West Pine, and the Library Garage at 112 East Central. Eligible businesses will apply for validations to the program. Those businesses that are approved will receive parking validation stickers from the CRA. Participating business would then give a receipt dated the same date as the validation sticker. That validation sticker will be presented at the parking attendant, to the parking attendant, I should say, at one of the designated garages for up to 3 hours of free parking. There'll be promotion codes for the metered on-street parking. Those will be available to use up to 3 times on each Park Mobile account. The codes will be shared with downtown customers and visitors via various communication channels, including our website, the city's website, the Downtown Orlando website, print media, and traditional, as well as social media. The promotion codes and validation stickers will be valid for 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, excluding major holidays and emergency situations. But I do want to point out, Commissioners and Mayor, that Park DTO is only for customers who are either shopping or dining at participating businesses in downtown. The validation should not be used by business owners or their employees. And those businesses found to be in violation of the guidelines of the program may have their validation privileges revoked. Overall, the funding allocated recommended to the parking program within the CRA is $100,000. I do want to point out that our friends over at Parking Division will also pick up approximately 17% of the validated transactions. The program term shall end at the earlier of either when the funding is totally expended or on September 1st, 2020, whichever sooner, as I said. And the program may be extended for up to an additional 60 days by the executive director of the CRA. If there are no questions, Mayor, after the briefings and whatnot, staff is requesting approval of the Downtown Parking Validation Program, Park DTO, and authorization to make expenditures from the CRA Trust Fund in an amount not to exceed $100,000 for such program.
So moved.
Second. Mayor's got a question.
Okay, let me take the motion in the second, and then I'll take the question. So motion by Commissioner Sheehan, second by Commissioner Hill. Commissioner Stewart, you're recognized.
Thomas, one of the challenges I have is kind of moving forward. How long do you think $100,000 is going to last us? Do you think that's 3 or 4 months worth? Do you think that's 30 days and we're going to kind of see how far we have to repeat it? Tell me about how far you think it's going to last.
Well, we obviously we recommended the September 1st date. Mayor, we do not have any track record to determine, what the burn rate will be. But we felt like an initiative lasting approximately that long, at least a 90-day situation, would be one that would be significant in assisting businesses to get back on their feet. I think all of us recognize that we have to be in this for the long haul. This is certainly, not all we will do, and we will certainly revisit the COVID-19 economic recovery initiative on many occasions, probably into the future. So we don't have a crystal ball into it, unfortunately. We don't know exactly. And that's why we ask for the leeway to either, if the money is not burned out by September 1, CRA is asking that the executive director be allowed to extend the program for up to an additional 60 days so that we can utilize all the allocated funding. But of course, if the $100,000 from the CRA is expended prior to September 1, the program would end upon that exhaustion of funds.
The program is already set up to run and start as soon as we say yes, correct?
Correct. As of tomorrow. Yes, sir.
Right. Is there a way you can just send us a note, I'd say 30 or 45 days down the road, let us know how it's going?
Absolutely. We can give a report on what the burn rate is. We're happy to
just an email of some sort. I'm just curious because I think we really want to drive people here, and I really want to drive the right people in the downtown. And the challenge would be really making sure we're monitoring it and monitoring closely. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Well, and Commissioner Stewart, to that point, I got a question from a reporter today on why don't we just make all parking free? And the idea was that we're providing free parking to people that are going to patronize our restaurants, our businesses downtown.
Correct.
And I agree with that completely. I think it's really an investment into our businesses, and I agree. And I guess probably what I'm asking is if we kind of keep on top of it, are there other things like this that will promote people to come to downtown? And I know you guys have thought about a lot of those things as well. So thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
Further questions?
Mayor, I actually have a speaker that wants to speak on this item, but we didn't have a speaker request during agenda review for this. So do you want to allow them to have a comment?
Sure.
Hi, my name is Tony Chester. I'm actually here because I am one of the people for whom you work, and I will remind you, you work for the people. I hold each of you to your oath of office, and your oath basically mandates you to uphold the Constitution for these United States of America that is the supreme law of the land. The orders that have been given to the people have no bearing. They are unauthorized. You have no authority. The Constitution guarantees our rights and guarantees our liberty, our right to pursuit of life, liberty, and also happiness. If we choose to wear masks, that's one thing. If we're sick and we use our common sense to stay home, that's another thing. But you can't deprive people of living their lives, of opening their businesses. You have no authority. You have a right.
Somehow relate to the.
You have to uphold your constitutional oath, okay? Otherwise, you're violating our rights. And under 18 U.S. Code 241, which is a conspiracy to deprive rights, or 18 U.S. Code 242, which is deprivation of rights under color of law, you can be sued in the private. You can be taken to court in the private for violating the rights of the people. And what I want to say is all your COVID policies are violations of the rights of the people. And it's time you uphold your oaths, period. We're asking that you do that and stop violating the civil rights of the people. You can't give us orders. You work for the people. That's all I have to say. Remember your oath.
Okay, that had nothing to do with the subject matter that we had. So, Madam Clerk, that was probably more appropriate for general appearance. In any event, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
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 Okay. Any nays? No nays. So that passes 7-0. Thank you. Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you. Thank you all.
We will reconvene the city council meeting for on hearings, ordinances, second reading. Number 1, Madam Clerk, 2020-19.
As a reminder, those of you joining us live and would like to provide a public comment for ordinance number 2020-19, please use the raise hand feature to request to speak or dial *9 if you are on the phone at this time. Ordinance 2020-19, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, annexing to the corporate limits of the city certain land generally located south of East Michigan Street, east of South Brown Avenue, and west of South Shine Avenue, and comprised of 0.128 acres of land, more or less, and amending the city's boundary description, amending the city's adopted growth management plan to designate the property as residential low intensity on the city's official future land use maps, designating the property as the one family residential district on the city's official zoning maps, providing for amendment of the city's official future land use and zoning maps, providing for severability, correction of scrivener's errors, permit disclaimer, and an effective date.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Sheehan, second by Commissioner Hill. Madam Clerk, do we have any requests for public appearance?
I do not have any speaker request.
Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, motion carries 7-0. Number 2, ordinance 2020-10.
Okay, again, as a reminder, those of you joining us live and would like to provide a public comment for ordinance 2020-10, please use the raised hand feature to request to speak or dial *9 if you are on the phone at this time. Ordinance 2020-10, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, annexing to the corporate limits of the city certain property generally located north of Hoffner Avenue, east of Conway Road, south of Simmons Road, and west of South Cimarron Boulevard, and comprised of 24.05 acres of land, more or less, and amending the city's boundary description, amending the city's adopted growth management plan to designate the property as office low intensity and residential low intensity on the city's official future land use maps, designating the property as the low intensity office residential with the aircraft noise overlay district and special plan for Conway Road and residential load development with the aircraft noise overlay district on the city's official zoning maps, providing for amendment of the city's official future land use and zoning maps, providing for severability, correction of scrivener's errors, permit disclaimer, and effective date.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Gray, second by Commissioner Ortiz. Madam Clerk, I know there's been some interest in this one. Do we have any members of the public that wanted to either speak or have something read into the record?
So Mayor, I have 2 comments that were submitted, one from Michael Hurley and one from Carly Starr that was forwarded to the commission today, earlier this morning. So we're not reading those into the record, but we provided them to be reviewed by the commission.
Okay, and I have those documents here, so they'll be part of the record. Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, motion carries 7-0. Okay, ordinance first read, number 1, Madam Clerk.
As a reminder, those of you joining us live and would like to provide a public comment for ordinance 2020-27, please use the raise hand feature to request to speak or dial *9 if you're on the phone at this time. Ordinance 2020-27, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, amending the Packing District Plan Development Zoning Ordinance for property generally located along West Princeton Street and Orange Blossom Trail between CSX Rail Line and John Young Parkway, and comprised of 100.1 acres of land, more or less, to update the sign regulations and to update the list of exhibits to include the master sign plan, providing for severability, correction of scrivener's errors, and an effective date.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Stewart, second by Commissioner Hill. Madam Clerk, did you have any appearance requests?
I do not.
Discussion?
Mayor, I'm a little bit concerned because I don't see the raise hand feature. I just want to make sure that it's available because I don't have it either. Is it working? Because I've got the scroll at the bottom. I just want to make sure that people aren't being denied. I mean, I got the webinar chat available, but I'm not seeing. It's unusual for us to not have people speaking, so I just want to make sure that it's there because I don't see it this time.
It's on the participant screen, and at the bottom, there's a raise hand button. And if they raise their hand, we're able to see that their hand is raised. So we have multiple
Okay.
people monitoring that to make sure that I don't miss it. So if there's somebody that does want to speak, that we've given them the opportunity. And that's why I state that at the beginning of the reading.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
Additional comment or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
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 Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Number 2, ordinance 2020-16.
Those of you joining us live and would like to provide a public comment for ordinance 2020-16, please use the raised hand feature to request to speak or dial *9 if on the phone at this time. Ordinance 2020-16, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, amending the city's growth management plan to change the future land use map designation for certain land generally located south of Orange Center Boulevard and west of South Tampa Avenue, comprised of 1.36 acres of land, more or less, from residential low intensity and residential medium intensity to neighborhood activity center, changing the property zoning designation from medium intensity development district and one family residential district to neighborhood activity center district, providing for amendment of the city's official future land use and zoning maps, providing for severability, correction of scrivener's errors, permit disclaimer, and effective date.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Burns, second by Mr. Sheehan. Madam Clerk, any requests for comment?
No request, Mayor.
Discussion among commissioners? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, and so the motion carries. All right, that will conclude the official business of the Orlando City Council for today.